Welcome back to another episode of Bad Therapists. Our story actually begins back in 2016 when our therapist was still a trainee, also serving as a teaching assistant at their institution. While in class, a student revealed that they had been a victim of rape, and our therapist responded that they were actually an expert in sexual abuse. As one would expect from a student still in training. Regardless, the student did start working with this TA as their therapist, at which point they introduced this client to the world of underground psychedelic psychotherapy. Interestingly, though, in this case, the school they were attending was actually one well known for training individuals to do psychedelic work, even including a trip to an ayahuasca retreat with other students at the institution. Although, to be clear, this marriage and family therapy trainee was not licensed to administer psychedelics, which is what they started doing. And in parallel with this, another client came into the training center, also presenting with relationship issues and a history of suicide. And again, this therapist in training presented themselves as an expert in these sorts of issues. And for both clients, the therapist began administering MDMA and psilocybin, sometimes including the gold standard approach of also taking the substances themselves and providing body work, where they would do things like place the client's head in their lap and caress them and spoon them in bed, with therapy sessions that lasted from morning until night and included transportation home. To the student, this therapist said things like, "Give in to your erotic transference." And to the other client, quote, "We have a spiritual connection and we're meant to be together to teach each other something." And when that client expressed concerns about possibly crossing boundary lines, they replied, quote, "Our connection is bigger than the rules of the board." With the second client, this went on for years, and eventually the therapy ended and they engaged in a fully romantic relationship that included sex and even meeting the therapist's parents. And when she tried to break up with them, they started to get belligerent. This included using their therapeutic relationship against the client, saying things like, "You're too traumatized to accept my love." And also importantly, that the client had previously consented to that relationship in a past life. Now, needless to say, once all of this came to light, this therapist's license was immediately revoked. But why did it take so long to catch this predator? Well, that first client was terrified that their TA could affect their ability to graduate if they reported them, and the second required extensive psychotherapy to really process the trauma of this new experience. And that's unfortunately why so many of these cases go uncaught for so long. Anyway, thanks for joining, and stay tuned for our next episode of Bad Therapists.